It is Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025, and it is the week for conference championships. Welcome in. This is Armchair Analysis. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Enjoying the beginning of the week. A chaotic last 48 hours around the college football world. Coaching carousel in full swing, in full rotation. We're going to talk about everything that we know to this point here in this early portion of the coaching carousel. We're going to talk about all the moves that, not all the moves we know about, but some of the most recent moves, some of the fallout of the last 48 hours since Lane Kiffin announced he was leaving for LSU. Welcome in. Enjoy the ride. We're going to talk about that. We're going to preview the ACC title game. We are also going to do another top 25, our final top 25, before the end of the college football season. So I thank y'all so much. Hope y'all are having a great day. If you're new around here, please like, subscribe, comment down below. We're coming off of our best live stream of the season. Last Sunday was the best by far we've had from a numbers perspective. I appreciate you guys. Thank you all for tuning in. And really, I'm looking forward to moving on with this week. So with that said, let's talk about Coach Carousel real quick. And it starts with the big news, right? The big one. Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss to go to LSU. How does the fallout go from that? Well, it starts with Pete Golding at Ole Miss. Was announced pretty much immediately that he would be the next head coach. Ole Miss decides they want to just promote from within. They think he's ready to go. I think Pete Golding's ready to go as a head coach. The biggest question is, who's he going to be able to keep? Who will he retain? How will he work through the portal? I think he's a very smart guy. I think he knows what he's doing. He's learned under some of the best coaches in college football history. So to me, I think this is going to be a surefire kind of just maintain. If not, you might regress a little bit. But I think this team kind of maintains where they are. Moving on, Florida was in the sweepstakes for Lane Kiffin. Who do they go for? They go and get John Sumrall. He was my number one candidate that was looking to promote from the G5. And I think I think Florida's got a bona fide winner when it comes down to it. Now, a lot of people are afraid to put their takes out there, but I think John Sumrall will win a national championship for Florida. I'm gonna throw that out there right now. I think he's a very smart guy. He's one of the most organized head coaches that a lot of people talk about. You know, the guys that have a structure, have a proven way about going through things and a proven way to win. John Sumrall is one of those guys, and I think that he's going to come in here, create a really solid staff, and we're going to see if Florida can go out and win immediately. And I think they will. I think coaching is one thing they were missing on, and John Sumrall, again, has a very specific way of going about things, a way of doing things that I don't think many people in the college football world know or understand quite yet. But they're going to learn the name. Those that don't know it yet will know. I think Florida fans are disappointed because they think they're going to go the Billy Napier route with this, and I just do not see it that way. I think again, Sumrall is going to be a proven winner at the University of Florida. The fallout from John Sumrall at Auburn means Alex Galesh is the new head coach for the Auburn Tigers. What does that mean for Auburn? I think a handful of good things, right? Now, I'll be honest, I listened to a number of podcasts, and I heard a few things that I don't particularly agree with. Now, the one thing I will say, quarterback has been a great position for Auburn. When Auburn has a quarterback, they perform. Except for the last couple of years. Peyton Thorne was not bad. They just couldn't get a passing game going. This past season, Jackson Arnold was never a bad passer, but didn't look good last year at all. Ashton Daniels certainly didn't look that great. So what do they do going forward? Alex Galesh is looked at as a quarterback guy, a quarterback guru. But is he? He walked into Byron Brown and knew how to utilize Byron Brown, but did he really have a true impact in his development? I'm going to answer with a no. Byron Brown was already good. He brought in a portal class around USF and utilized the location to help out that class and help out that team improve. You go back to Tennessee. Josh Heupel was the one calling the offense, not Alex Galesh. He was the offensive coordinator in title, but he wasn't the one calling plays. He learned under Josh Heupel, learned how to do what he did at USF. I think he's going to come in. I don't doubt that the offense is going to be good. That's not what I'm trying to put out there. But what I'm going to put out there is we've seen how Josh Heupel's done things. Auburn has a really good defense that Galesh is walking into. I look for year 3 or 4 to see where that defense, whether it stays at the place that it was or whether it kind of comes back down to reality. I don't know that it's going to work out for Gillespie at Auburn. I want it to. I really do. But I just don't know that I buy into an idea that that's going to work. Staying in the SEC, we got 2 more. Arkansas hires Ryan Silverfield. He was on the list from the very beginning. When Rhett Lashley re-signed and extended with SMU, sights kind of turned to Ryan Silverfield. And then it turned to Alex Gillespie for a minute, turned back to Ryan Silverfield. They got their guy, a guy that they were really excited to bring back to Arkansas, or to bring to Arkansas, and look for some success. I don't know how it's going to work out. I'm going to be completely honest with you. But what I do know is that I'm just interested to see it. It's going to be a new era, a new look for the Arkansas program. At Kentucky, Mark Stoops was fired on Sunday, or yesterday actually, and I was a bit surprised at Mark Stoops being fired, to be completely honest, just given the timing of it all. But they had a bad year, and they've had multiple bad years over the last few, and it seems like this program's regressing, not really playing the quarterback position very well. So they wanted to go a different route, and they go for Kentucky native Will Stein from Oregon to come over. And I think this is going to be a fun hire. I think it's going to be a fun look to this program. They're going more for an offensive-minded approach. We'll see what the defense looks like. I like this for Kentucky. I really do. We're going to see what happens. We'll see how it pursues forward. But if they do the right things in the portal right away, Kentucky may not be a contender, but I've had a lot of Tennessee fans over the last few years saying Kentucky can't beat Tennessee. If Tennessee doesn't improve this defense and Kentucky gets better on offense, it might just happen. Taking a trip to the Big Ten, Pat Fitzgerald has been announced as new head coach at Michigan State after they kind of surprisingly fired Jonathan Smith. I don't think they gave him enough time, to be completely honest, but why would they? This Michigan State program is kind of in a bit of an interesting spot, right? They don't have a lot of patience for a program that it really needs some time to rebuild, find some stability post Mark D'Antonio. This program, I think, is excited about Pat Fitzgerald. They should be. He's a very solid head coach. He's going to bring a lot to this program. The thing is, you go back to look at what he did at Northwestern. While it was impressive, it was probably the best Northwestern's ever been. The biggest thing for me when I look at Northwestern and what they were under Pat Fitzgerald, they were an every 3 to 4 year team where they would kind of break out, emerge as an 8-win team, and then go back. I don't know that you can get much better at Michigan State. And to be completely honest, we're watching the transfer portal stuff unfold. Their best player on this roster, Nick Marsh, has already entered the portal. So it's going to be really interesting to watch Pat Fitzgerald and how he adjusts, because this is kind of his first real test in the transfer portal era. And this is a program that is usually trying to buy at the portal, but now I think it looks more like a program that's just trying to hold on to what they can. We'll see, but I don't know that this does any more than get them an 8 to 9 win season every once in a while. I don't think this is a bona fide win of a hire. I'm gonna do hiring grades at the end of the carousel, so don't worry, I'll come back to it. Excuse me. Staying in the Big Ten for just a minute, we've got a lot of reports about Bob Chesney going to UCLA. I believe it is official at this point. So that's very exciting. I'm very, very curious to watch how that works out. A guy from the Northeast, a guy who's really centered roots in his Northeast, or centered his roots in the Northeast, is now going out to LA to be a head coach there and have to find a way to recruit out there, find a way to win in the portal out there. Try to find a way to win in NIL out there. The coaching aspect is not something I'm concerned about, and I think if UCLA can maintain a lot of their players, a lot of this roster from this current season, I think UCLA will be a winner next year. I think they'll win 6, 7, maybe even 8 games. However, if they don't, and they can't win anything in the portal, they can't win in recruiting, this is not going to work out as the hire that they think it's going to be. So I'm very curious. A lot of people are excited about the JMU roots, given what Cignetti has done at Indiana. I just don't know that I can fully agree with it. A lot of drama over the last 24 hours with Kalani Sitake and Penn State versus BYU, and these two teams having a bidding war over Kalani Sitake. Here's what I personally think. I think Sitake should stay at BYU. I think that that's where he's going to have his most success. we're not going to complain or we're not going to question the physicality of this team. No matter where he is, we're not going to ever question the physicality of his teams. But what we are going to question is his ability to recruit, his ability to win these battles up in the Northeast. He's never been up there. He's never had this opportunity to really be a coach in the Northeast and be able to recruit Pennsylvania talent, to be able to recruit talent from New Jersey, Virginia, North Carolina. That's going to be a very interesting spot for me because when you look at what he's done at BYU, a lot of his thing has been keeping the Polynesian players in the area or keeping them local. Those kids like to stay local. They don't really like to go away from home. How will he win at Penn State in a lot of these recruiting situations is something that I really do have a lot of curiosity towards. Now, this is not official, and I think there's still a lot of things going back and forth on this. But if this is the move, a lot of question marks around it. Let's get back into ones that we do know. Tavita Pritchard has been announced as the head coach at Stanford. Sorry, not Syracuse, Stanford. Former quarterback at Stanford, former assistant at Stanford. Went on to the Washington Commanders, has been the quarterback coach there for the last few years, and they look pretty solid. They've been a successful organization when healthy. Very curious to see what he does at Stanford. Was just curious about the overall intent, right, for Andrew Luck and what he was going to do. I think this is an interesting move. I think this is a move that kind of, if you want me to be honest, I think this is a move where Andrew Luck has gone and hired somebody who's willing to follow what he's asking to be done. And it's hard for me not to feel that way with the Frank Reich hire as interim, this hire now, and the way we've watched Andrew Luck kind of be the center of attention for this program as almost like the voice of the Stanford program this last year. This is not a dig at Andrew Luck, and this is not a dig at the hire. I just think that's what it is. I think Andrew Luck wants to be the head coach without being the head coach, if that makes sense. And we'll see how that works out. It could be interesting. Lastly, one that we just haven't talked about, but it happened a while ago, was Jim Mora to Colorado State. Jim Mora's season ended at UConn last week. Prior to this past Saturday, it was already over. He was hired in the middle of last week. He's going to Colorado State. I think this is a huge move for Colorado State. They are going to win immediately with him, and I think that's a very exciting situation, exciting prospect to look at. What he's done at UConn is fantastic. They just went 9-3, by the way. They're going bowling back-to-back seasons for the first time in a while. I'd have to go back to the specific years, but it's been a minute. I think this is an exciting spot for Colorado State. I think this is an exciting job for Jim Mora, and I think this is very exciting for what his future could be and where he could eventually end up in the Power 4 ranks, because he's not going to stop there. Very excited. The coaching carousel is only just beginning. We've got a lot more stuff that's going to come out and things that are going to happen. Penn State's going to make their hire. Somebody else is going to have to make a hire. We'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think about all these so far. Let me know if you think I'm off base on any of them. But with all that said, let's go ahead and take a look at my new top 25 for going into Conference Championship Week. All right, I had to get it uploaded. So here we go. The new top 25. It's really not much different. As a matter of fact, there's very few changes to this top 25 at all. We lose 3 teams, Pitt, Tennessee, and San Diego State. We add Houston, James Madison, and Arizona. Texas A&M falls to number 5 from number 3. The reason for it, they lost to Texas. Plain and simple. They lost to Texas. And I didn't feel like they were worse than Ole Miss. I don't feel like they deserve to be below 2 lost teams, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, or Alabama. I think 5 is kind of the perfect spot for them right now. You move on through it. You think I'm a little low on Texas Tech, I'm sure. That's very likely. I want to see them against some of the more physical teams. Their ranking is going to change through the playoffs, so I think they're going to win some playoff games. You go down a little further, Miami, Texas, Vanderbilt are the 3 teams that I think are right on the fringe of the playoff. I think that's kind of where we're going to sit when the rankings come out tonight. This is not my prediction for the rankings, just kind of that I'm in agreement with where they would be. Utah at 15, USC at 16, Virginia 17, and Michigan at 18. Michigan State's at 18. Look, I don't think the game was as bad as it's been played out to be, but it certainly was not good. They did not have a chance to win that game in the slightest. But to stick around in that game as long as they did, to give them some credit where it's due, I still think they're better than those below them. You got North Texas at 19. I think they're the best G5 team. I think they'll prove it on Friday night. Missouri at 20. Tulane at 21. Navy 22. Houston at 23. Back into the win column at 9-3. I think they belong right there. JMU at 24. And Arizona at 25. Very excited to see where things go from there. And I really don't have a whole lot of explanation. Just let me know what you agree with and disagree with, of course, in the comments below. With that said, let's preview and what the biggest question mark is going into this weekend is, will the ACC have a playoff spot? That is a question. Believe it or not, that is a serious question that people are asking, and they should be asking this question. Why? Because Duke has a very outside shot of winning this game, and if they do win this game, it's going to take the ACC out of the playoffs completely. I don't think Miami's going to be able to get enough help to get in. I don't think that Duke's going to jump JMU or Tulane or North Texas, meaning that Virginia is the last hope for the ACC to win this conference and to make the college football playoff. And I think they're going to be a pretty solid chance to do that. Why do I feel that way? Because of what happened just a few weeks ago when these two teams played in Charlottesville. This Virginia team dominated in that game, outgained Duke by almost 150 yards, had a 200-yard almost advantage in the run game itself. So actually, they actually almost outgained Duke by 200-plus yards is what it was. 224-42 was the rushing disadvantage, or the rushing advantage for Virginia over Duke a couple weeks ago. Virginia over Duke a couple weeks ago. Virginia was 12 of 19 on third down, allowed only 4 of 15 on third down to Duke. Jamari Taylor leads the conference in rushing yards. He had a 200-yard day a few weeks ago. To me, or a close to 200-yard day. To me, this feels very much like Virginia can come out here and dominate once again and roll in this game. The thing that Duke's done really well all year long is, one, Darian Mensah leads the conference in passing touchdowns, passing yards, average yards per attempt, and yards per game. Duke's won by forcing turnovers this year. They're one of the better teams in the conference at doing so. I think Duke will try to steal a possession or two in this game. And then lastly, they have to find a way to slow down Jamari Taylor, which is what is my key to the game here. As for Virginia, don't turn the ball over. Chandler Morris has had moments where he's turned it over. It's created some problems. But at the end of the day, just don't turn it over. When you look at this game, Virginia walks in as a 3.5-point favorite, and a team that won 34-17 a couple weeks ago in this exact same matchup. The visual aspect of this matchup, nothing changes. There's not one single difference other than this game is on a neutral field and not at Virginia. I just don't think it matters. I think this Duke team is very fortunate to be where they are. They're 7-5, 6-2, but it could certainly easily be 6-6 or even worse. They're a very fortunate team. They've made it where they are. I won't call them lucky, but they're a team that I don't believe has the true potential to win this conference, whereas Virginia does. This Duke team has allowed too much defensively, 29 points per game, 414 yards a game. I just feel like Virginia is going to be able to do what they want once again, as they did a couple weeks ago. Some things that you just can't outcoach a team, you can't outcoach a team when you don't have the ability to slow them down. And I think a lot of things were thrown that way a few weeks ago. I think a lot of things will be thrown at them once again. It's going to come down to Chandler Morris being healthy, something that he's had some issues with this year. But I think it won't matter. I think Virginia will get their 11th win of the season, and I think Virginia will make their way to the college football playoff with a 38-24 victory over this Duke team. And it opens up the question, who wins the American, and do they get in over James Madison? That'll be the question going forward this week. But I thank y'all. Let me know who you guys are picking in the ACC championship game this weekend between Duke and Virginia. I'd love to know what you guys think down below. Tomorrow we're going to preview the Big 12 championship game between BYU and Texas Tech. Thursday we will preview the Big 10 championship game between Ohio State and Indiana, number 1 versus number 2 in the Big 10 title game. And then Friday we will preview the SEC along with doing a bit of a betting preview. So appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Hope y'all have a great rest of your day. Make sure that if you are new here, you please like and subscribe. And with all that said, thank you guys so much. We'll see you tomorrow with another episode of Armchair Analysis.